Hello, I'm Simon Hoyle, Sales Engineer at Ventura. Today I'd like to speak briefly about value engineering, which, as most will know, is the process of removing costs from a project whilst retaining the maximum of the initial design intent and functionality. A classic project where we saw successful value engineering was a job we recently completed in Hamilton. This project was a small apartment building located near the University of Waikato. And one of the key design elements was a centrally located external stairway in the street-facing facade. The initial design had the stairway being fully enclosed in a glazed curtain wall. However, during the construction phase, it was determined that this glazing actually resulted in non-compliance with the fire regulations. Because it was a primary exit, the facade was required to have a minimum of 50% open area in order to allow smoke to escape in the event of a fire. The client was recommended to come to Ventura for some solutions, and he presented us with the following brief. The solution needed to first and foremost comply with the ventilation and smoke and fire requirements. It needed to allow as much natural light into the area as possible. It needed to provide weather protection for occupants using the stairs, and it needed to be engineered to comply with the balustrade. Based on this brief, our first suggestion was our glazed louvered smoke vents. These are double glazed, they're certified smoke vents, and they fitted the bill perfectly. The client loved the idea, and he asked us to proceed with preliminary design in order to get some accurate pricing together. We proceeded to do this, and once the costs came in, they were around about $100,000 from memory. The client decided that they were unfortunately too high for the budget and asked us to go back and revisit some other alternatives. With our second round of alternatives, we put forward two options. One was some fixed glazed louver blades with an integral metal balustrade behind. The second was electrically operable aluminium blades. Both of these options came in around about $65,000, and although the client liked them and although they were close to his initial budget requirements, the project was unfortunately going through some other issues and further savings needed to be made. So he asked us to go back and have another look at what further costs could be cut out. With our third attempt, we put forward another two alternatives. This time we used fixed aluminium louver blades, and in the lower right you can see we ran them vertically. This solution ticked 3 of the 4 boxes of the design brief. It complied with the 50% open area, it complied with the balustrade, and it allowed a good amount of natural light into the area. Unfortunately, it didn't do much for protection from wind-driven rain, as the rain could simply blow in between the blades. Our other alternative used the same blades but running horizontally, and while this reduced the amount of light that could get into the area, it significantly improved the weathering performance. It was about at this point that the client went on holiday and just happened to go past a restaurant in the South Island where there were some louvers which we'd supplied some years previously, very similar to our horizontal blade option here. There's a couple of photos of them. When he saw them in the flesh, he decided that that's what he wanted, and when he came back he gave us the final confirmation of approval to proceed. Once the contract was in place, we proceeded with detailed design, which included detailed shop drawings, structural engineering and a PS1. Once the louvers were fabricated, they were delivered to site and they were installed by one of our resellers, JW Projects. JW did a fantastic job in this project. The installation went very smoothly and it was done and dusted in a couple of days. This allowed the builder to proceed on with other elements of this program, which were unfortunately feeling the pinch by this point. The final result? Well, a few weeks ago, in the midst of a COVID-19 lockdown, a happy client sent through these images of the building lit up at night. We think it's a fantastic result, and we think it's an excellent example of how, even when you need to cut costs out of a project, you don't need to sacrifice either functionality or aesthetics. So if you're working on a project at the moment that requires value engineering, or if you're looking for cost-effective alternatives whilst maintaining maximum functionality and aesthetics, then feel free to get in touch. We're here to help. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.